Yes, hello. Body by Bricks here with my second Lego set review for the YouTube channel of a set that I did on the treadmill. This is the Tyrannosaurus Rex from the Jurassic Park Fossils set. I'm a huge Jurassic Park fan, have been since I was a child when the first movie came out, and I got it on VHS for Christmas the year that it came out on VHS. I think my parents thought I was still too young when it was actually in theaters to go see it, but I guess I was old enough to see it by the time it came out on VHS. So I remember watching it Christmas morning and just fell in love immediately. And it's been a love story ever since between myself and the dinosaurs. Um, so pretty much every time Lego releases Jurassic Park sets, I am one of the first online to grab it. As you can see, I've done the T Rex skull and the Triceratops skull, both of which I did early in the Body by Bricks timeline. And at the time when I first started, I wasn't taking too good of stats and notes on the builds that I was doing. I was more focused on just learning how to walk on the treadmill and build at the same time. And a lot of the times just wasn't thinking about tracking how many miles or how many different bits of information that I've grown to take heed of now. But I did track that the T Rex skull took 5 miles to walk, and this one took 4 miles to walk. So this guy was, I guess, a little bit more detailed, maybe. Um, he's 577 pieces, and the Triceratops was 468 pieces. So there is a piece difference, probably why it took me a mile longer to build the T Rex. But they're both great sets as well. I really love the fossils line. I hope they do many more dinosaur fossils. Uh, this beast of a set is incredible. There's so many different techniques utilized to build the structure of the T Rex, and then the base itself with the rock terrain underneath him holding up the body, the way that they attached his little T Rex arms to the body itself. Very interesting technique. Kind of wraps around the rib cage and comes down in front of him. Skull was eerily similar to this skull, but I don't know how they'd really make it too much different. Um, Everything moves. The skull can pose it in different ways, turn the head, do whatever you want with him. Tail goes back and forth like this, so you can pose him in different positions. Not too crazy, but enough. All you need. You would think that the tail might get repetitive with the length, but each section was built just slightly different, using different bricks or different size bricks to gradually taper off to the end of the tail. The legs being in two different positions meant that two different ways of building each leg, so you weren't building the same leg twice, which was really awesome because things like that can get a little boring and repetitive. And then, of course, the information plaque, which I'll give a close up of at the end. Always love the information plaques. I think it's a really nice touch to the sets that they come with. Gives a little, obviously information about the subject matter, and sometimes they come with a little neat little base for some classic minifigure characters. In this case, we have Alan Grant and Ellie Sattler at a little mini dig. So yeah, the color scheme is great. Sandy tones with the brown and beige bricks just really accentuates the skeletalness of the set. Really, really hope that they do more in this line. This is probably one of my favorite lines aside from it being Jurassic Park themed. I just really like building the skeletons and really unique sets. Um, he is 3,145 pieces of pure Lego fun, and took me 8 hours to build him on the treadmill. Clocked myself at 393 bricks per hour, which is a pretty decent amount of bricks per hour, I would say. Um, I walked for 35 miles while I was building him and lost 4 pounds during the build itself, which at the time brought me to a total of 27 pounds lost while building Lego on the treadmill. Dropped 12 bricks, which is less than the last build I did. I think I dropped like 17 in the last one. And each time it's a guessing game where they land, and if I really needed them, or if it was an extra piece that I had plenty of that I could spare losing under the treadmill for the duration of the build. Um, and I watched all the Jurassic Park movies while I built them. So I got to the end of, to the beginning of Fallen Kingdom, the second Jurassic World movie, which is great. I revisit them all the time though, so it was nothing new, just fun to throw on and listen, mainly because I was focused on reading the instruction manual, which was 3 books. Much better when they come in 3 books instead of one huge book, because my little table can only take so much weight. And that was another thing with this set. I was grateful that it came together in pieces, because if I had to have this in front of me while I was walking and having to reach over him to turn the page on the books every single time, might have been the first Lego set that I quit halfway through on the treadmill. But the fact that he comes together piece by piece, and you add a piece, and I was able to move him from my table to this table actually, and then build his next piece, put it together, and so on and so forth. Had a couple little Easter eggs in here that, spoiler warning, if you don't want to know about them, you have a couple seconds here to skip away. But if you're still here, I'm sure you already know about them. I didn't get a picture because I just couldn't do it. I was filming myself walking while I was building, and the phone was doing that, so I couldn't grab it to get a picture of it. My buddy Chris, at Chris Builds Lego on Instagram and TikTok, he snagged a picture while he was building it and sent it my way, so I'm gonna paste that in here somewhere if I can figure it out, of the frog in the skeletal system here driving the T-Rex, because as we all know, they replaced any missing dinosaur DNA with frog DNA. So I thought that was hilarious. I loved it. When I remember I was opening the bag and I was like, why the heck is there a steering wheel in this set? And lo and behold, there was a steering wheel in the set because the frog is driving the T-Rex, which is awesome. And then they had a little fossil in the front here of the display of the T-Rex skull. Kind of pops off and you can take it on and off and find your own fossil in your fossil set. So highly recommend this set, especially if you're as big a Jurassic Park fan as I am. It was a lot of fun. It is enormous, so you should really have a place to store him or a plan for him. Right now, he's just been sitting behind me against the window, or he's been on the floor in the Lego room. We're buying a whole new console table for the hallway upstairs specifically just to display him. So definitely have a plan for where he's going to end up, because he can get pretty cumbersome. It's a detail shot on him. Skull is awesome. It's pretty much the same exact size as the other skull set. Very, very similar. Slight few differences though. It's a huge set. Long tail. There's the information plaque with Alan Grant, Ellie Sattler, and a little fossil to discover for yourself. It's a 10 out of 10 for me. I love this build. Really hope they make another one of this size. I feel like I'm sure that they'll make smaller ones, but I would love to do another full body dinosaur build. That would be incredible. So yeah, thanks for checking out my Lego build. Thanks for following along on the journey if you're on the other socials. Still working on figuring out YouTube and editing and content and all that. It's a whole new world to me. And speaking to a camera, whole new world. So bear with me as I get accustomed to it all. Yeah, love you guys. Thanks for checking it out. Thanks for following along. Thanks for subscribing and liking and hanging out. Catch you on the treadmill. Oh, stupid, huh? It's not gonna stick. Promise. See ya.